Well, that was definitely a quick way to be starting off our first map here. MXS going up against Core Gaming. I mean, Van, it's tough. I mean, we're looking at our as spotlighted teams, MXS right there, and they were not messing around today, let's be honest.
Yeah, they definitely weren't. But I mean, no matter what, I probably still caught one of those jerseys, man, from Core. I think, you know, summer's coming. Hot boy summer's coming as well. I'm intermittent fasting. I'm trying to lose some weight. Maybe I'll look good in one of those jerseys as well from Core. I'd probably still take it. But yeah, in the end, like I said, it almost feels like the composition in itself really fumbled and shambled the plans that you kind of tried to bring out here from Core. And at the same time, when you're shooting the way that you are here from MXS, it just really just spells like go GG, go Knicks, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and it's one of those things, like, you have to give a little bit of credit to Core, because as much as they were getting really kind of beat up in the first, like, 20 seconds of these rounds, they still found ways to create some issues on the offensive front for MXS. I think, you know, you look back, you reflect on the first half overall, which was the large majority of this match, obviously. If you're Core, you just had to find a solution for that high tide setup a lot sooner than they were able to. It's
exactly
just too punishing in the first 30 seconds. Too many first bloods tallied. Too many moments when Vic's walking away with 2+ kills per round. It's just so many like marginal things that if you just clean up one or two of these, you know, maybe you have a better chance. But
yeah,
it just, like, right there is a perfect example. I mean, even after being first blooded in almost every single round that they lost, they still got the spike down 7 times, just weren't able to hold it. So it's kind of almost a mimicking example of what we talked about at the beginning of this matchup. That's what hurt them when they were playing in their first match last week. You know, out-fragging their opponent, but not being able to convert in odd man number situations. This time, it's the post plant that kind of goes a bit astray.
And I think you bring up a great point, though, in terms of what they could do against the high tide that was being set up by MXS, because the game plan that you saw from Core, when you pull out the L drone, yes, you're able to get Mata out of position at the beginning, but what is the next step? Yeah. And on the other end for MXS, they actually pull out a high tide right away that's more aggressively towards the A side instead of the traditional type of high tide block and vision towards green and middle. And that's why, like, the counter of the owl drone towards the B side would have been perfect that you currently have if you're running those type of protocols for Core on the B side with the owl drone. But when that's not happening, what is the game plan to play against MXS at that point on the A side? And if you haven't figured that out and you couldn't find the timing in between the cooldowns of those high tides on the A site, then you're basically playing the map 2 steps behind your opponents the whole half at that point. And it's just unfortunate for Core that they had to try to adapt on the fly. They had to pull out their timeouts on the fly as well from Ocean and try to figure out some results. And unfortunately, nothing came into fruition.
Well, and think about it this way. It's one of those situations where it's not just the high tide that, like, if you were to owl drone through it, because MXS were throwing 3 members forward, you don't get to see everybody. So, you know, it's just one of those things that I think you look back on that, and if Core were to, like, retroactively pick their agents, maybe you do pull something like a Sky instead, so you can flash through it rather than just owl drone through it. I don't know. That's just, like, something to possibly think about in the future if they run themselves into the same harbor composition.
Yeah, and sorry, CR, one more thing. That's where it's going to get super fun where you're looking at the later weeks too, though, right? If you're trying to min-max against a double controller and somehow you face against MXS in the future, even MXS could pull out with something different at that point and be like, well, your flash is not going to be useless against our comp. So you're thinking about the later game and a super long run at this point. But right now, at least for today, it's just Core trying to figure out what they could do better next time, at least against a double controller if somebody else is playing it.
It's tough too, because, like, you're looking back if you're Core and just like, okay, what can I do better? But at the same time, like, MXS, they have some shooters. Like, honestly, like,
yes,
some of the things out here were absolutely disgusting. So all the game plans in the world aren't gonna necessarily help you, at least not to the effect you need if you're getting outshot at some capability. And I want to talk a little bit about Vic, because honestly, Shift, like, it was kind of nasty, honestly.
Kind of? How about he's freaking filthy, definitively? Kind of nasty. We look back up at the stats. Out of the 15 total rounds of Valorant we just played, he had 8 rounds where he was dropping a 2 or a 3K. So it's one of those situations that it's not just, again, one problem of the high tide being an issue for Core. As soon as they got through it, Vic was right there waiting for them. So it's just, man, it's just so wild, because we've now seen for 3 straight maps some really great lockdown Sentinel-esque plays that have come through. We were highlighting the Sentinel players from last game, and now here in this one, Vic just immediately follows up with almost a star-studded performance of his own. So yeah, I mean, 21-7. God, freaking what? That's more than just kind of nasty. That's disgusting.
And his last name, I think, is Trung, so I'm pretty sure it's a Vietnamese last name. So just another casual Vietnamese popping off in VCL and also VCTs. We love it. We love to see it.
Honestly, just looking at like the team in general coming out from MXS, it wasn't just Vic that was absolutely dirty, but a couple of the plays that they had too. There was one round in particular that was very much so the defining, oh yeah, they not only are winning this, but they're winning this handedly at this point. It was absolutely incredible. Pulling up this past round, this was the one where it was just this constant push for space shift over on this A side, and I've never seen a Reckoning drop that deep into their spawn.
Yeah, and you know, this is what I have to call the we're better than you strat of like, we're just going to run through. But if you were to take away, at this point, the game was what? It was 10-2, or not even. It was like 9-2 or something of the nature.
Yeah.
It's the fact that you kind of saw it in the minimap. There are 3 players that are pushing up with this high tide. So it creates this opportunity to throw something strange that you don't expect. This is obviously the exact definition of you don't expect this, but it adds that ability for them to be very versatile and variable and just kind of keep you guessing to where it's never the same thing twice. And that just really goes to show that, yeah, when MXS is feeling themselves, they can pull out plays like that to create an extra problem.
And because that high tide came out before the Reckoning came through towards the spawn, you saw how it was impossible for them to get information on the other end for core, because by then you've already wasted your owl drone and your recon dart to at least see how many players are pushing out, and it was always broken instantly. So you're running into the unknown, and then surprise, you're just gonna get flooded by this Reckoning and owned, literally wrecked by the push on the defense there from MXS.
It's rough too if you're looking at core, because that was their map pip going into this. This was the map where I wanted to see a little bit more coming out from them, and unfortunately MXS just kind of shut it down. We didn't necessarily get to see maybe what we wanted going on for it. So now I think it's just only going to get even tougher. Not even I think, it is going to get even tougher, because we're going over to MXS's pick of Bind next shift. And honestly, like we know that they're strong here. I think this should be a fun map considering what we've gotten to see from core with the arena that they have their Senti on, but it's an uphill battle.
Yeah, I mean, I doubled geckos, which means there's going to be a lot of things happening in the map at one given moment in time. But you're absolutely right. I'll be interested to see if they go back to the Reyna again. In the past, they've ran things that are more traditional towards just kind of running the solo rays. Looking at their past stats during the qualifier, they also had a couple of the maps where they pulled out the chamber, did core. Whereas for MXS, they pulled out the standard solo race, but they also had the gecko in the map where they played up against Oxygen Esports. So I think that it will be kind of curious, and I don't know. Did you really feel like there was enough opportunities versus Together We Are Terrific to continue running the Reyna? That's, I think, the biggest question going into this agent select in my mind.
A lot of questions. Not going to have to wait too long to get the answers, though, because our agent select is ready. It's time to hit bind, so I'll see you two after.
Sweet. Sounds good. We'll see you there.
Core's in for a bind.
Stop it. Okay? Golly. No Reyna this time, Advanced Silly. How about a KO for you? Like that?
Okay. KO, double controller with Astra. This is very interesting as well. I still think with this KO coming into the mix, it still allows for you to get a little bit more in terms of not a little bit more, but still have lineups that you could do on pulse plants. If you don't have that brimstone, you could still do sucks instead of doing, lineups with the brimstone. So this is actually pretty cool to min-max at least losing some of those capabilities of not having a brimstone, but not having a Reyna is going to be an interesting one too, because now Ziff is also playing a Viper. So you're not really allowing him to let loose, like we were mentioning at the beginning of the series, where he could actually get around and maybe, bring the team back in terms of adding more firepower now. But you'll still have the double gecko no matter what. I still think this is going to be pretty decent. I don't know. Core at least came out with something new, and I'm looking forward to see it.
Yeah, and I think the thing too, in talking about Ziff not playing the Reyna, is like he's a very talented Viper player, so
of course
it's not like he's going to be unfamiliar in the lineups or anything like that on this map. So I think it is just one of those situations that you had to kind of take the evaluation from last week, but like, yeah, we didn't really find as much value with the Reyna as we were hoping for, so now we have to kind of readjust. And I do agree, I think it's a bit peculiar to see them go into an Astra instead of just a Brimstone, but you're looking for maybe the denial with the fragment in play instead. I mean, there's opportunities to still kind of post-plant Molly when they eventually find themselves on the offense. But it will be Core starting defensively first, so let's tally everything as we go. Nice. Hit him with it. Little 1-2, 1-2. And MXS will get to work on the offense to start things off.
That's right. MXS on the offense, and they're just looking to do some very basic things, standard stuff, actually leaving showers open for the beginning of the round. So that's going to be something interesting to think about here. But looking at the defensive side, they're not really going to add that same pressure. They're going for a wall that could maybe deny visibility and allow retakes, at least from the B site, rotate. But that pressure is to try to find info towards B in the beginning with those 4 players.
Couple of shoulders on both sides here over towards B long. A little peek from Mata in towards Hookah. Nothing of too much significance yet. T-Dog back of the site is the one responsible for that. Trailblazer just kind of comes out and says, hey, how are you? Sits there for a moment, and everything will kind of reset with that knife. Really not picking up on too much, maybe outside of the fact that Mata was watching it.
It almost feels like it's some sort of a active trap play that they're trying to do from Core, because they could suck and nade it up down towards long B if they wanted to, but that contact actually forces MXS to just push towards the A site and go for a wingman plan. So a beautiful read in the end to not fall into the trap play from Core.
Oh, here's the interesting thing. Look how far Mata has gotten. I mean, Core's going to have to just brute force their way through one of 2 spots.
At least they got
either
2 flashes.
First here. Oh, well, that's not unfortunate. Well, a little unfortunate. Boombot scouts it out. Nerve finds the kill. Nice shot from Ziff. Opportunity to reclaim the site. Now it's just down to how do you break back the rest of this post plan, because a lot of it is deeper, and Ziff is just not missing. Fly a last one left can do nothing, and that's a flawless retake, flat out.
That's how you start things out, I guess, for Core, and you love it. You love to see it right now. A little bit of a resurgence after coming out of what was brutal in the first map, for lack of a better word. A nice little Zenny Flawless to start things off, too, to, you know, add a little bit more into the bank going into that second round. But, I mean, everything was initiated by a Boombot. Instead of trying to flash through and trying to find information, Boombot blowing up close, has 3 players spamming through the smoke, and you get a pick like that. Everything was slowed down by a nice little mosh that was thrown by Brock, though, but Ziff just went to town out from Heaven's side to allow Core to get that first pistol. So that's actually quite nice. It allows now Core to play a 2-1-2 on defense and use rifles in their advantage.
And MXS have classics. So
I love this.
It's like an economic David and Goliath situation here, eventually.
Exactly. And I love it, because right now we were mentioning, right, some of these players like to go for Outlaws in that second round. So they're going full classics, knowing that an Outlaw could just take you down in one shot. So just try to get the plan as a group.
Well, thing is, some of that is delayed a little bit by the Astro suck. So now it's elbow control, and hold on a second. This is going to be a little laborious to try to re-clear out for the side of Core. They've got plenty of tools to do so, but this is going to take a lot of time.
Yeah, not for MXS, though. There's no flashes on their end. Now Dizzy's finally up. Maybe they get something out of this with Mata's position.
Whoa. Opening trade. Molly comes through. Dizzy also a part of the picture here. Ziff on the way back in. Fly just causing some deterrent. How about this? MXS finding kills now. A couple of weapons. Gets the halfway off the defusal, though. Ziff by himself, 1v2 situation, and he's looking everywhere. He's got no idea where this post plan's truly set up at. Finds the first, snaps over to the second. Time is going to be tight. Does he get it? No! I mean, zoom in on it. It is a pixel away from being finished.
What is that second behind there? Usually there's seconds behind of how far he was on a defuse, but it definitely looked like it was like a .02. That said, though, I don't know how it came down to a 1 versus 2 for Core at that point. They had rifles to work with, and there you go. Production just told me 0.02, so there you go. It was literally at .02,
no way.
As we're seeing on that line. I don't understand how that happened, because MXS didn't have any flashes to flash through spawn, and Mata was pretty much on a one and done behind those smokes, yet still gets right-click classic kill or whatever classic it was, and then the trays just came flooding in right after from the aggression that they had from sight. I don't really understand how it came down to that. MXS just shot better, I guess, with full classics.
Yeah, that, and I think, again, that elbow position, so rigid. How do you actually push players out of that position? Plus, at the time it took for the retake, all of it stacks together. All these little things amount to one big thing, which is an anti-eco win for MXS. And now shoes on the other foot. 4 sheriffs in play. Don't sleep on the challenger sheriff, though. We've seen some electricity to this point already.
Yeah, is it like the GC sheriff?
It's not, maybe not as good. Doesn't have that buff, but it's not that bad. I'll tell you that much.
The first contact will be Mata for this. That's no VCL sheriff, at least to start.
Blood on the way through. Nice paint shells. A little underhanded toss that gets completely countered by Mata.
Oh my God.
Clean start. Give him the shells back. And the post-plant situation. GG, go next.
Yeah, keep hunting as well, right? I love that he's pushing towards the spawn. That's, I mean, maybe something that Core will have to start identifying as well. That they don't mind pushing towards spawn after the post plants, at least for now for MXS. I have to put at least a little grain of salt that they are playing against an anti-eco, which is why they don't mind pushing towards the spawn. Maybe it's going to be a little bit more disciplined towards these gun rounds. But also, I do understand Amada was pushing towards the spawn too, because he's 2 away from an ult orb or a showstopper.
Yep.
So you're trying to get the pick or die or whatever, and then you can control an orb in the gun round against Core over here. And technically, this is supposed to be a bonus round, but they upgraded so many weapons against Core on that second round that this is a very, very strong, quote-unquote, bonus round for MXS against Core, who's backed against the wall, economy-wise, once again.
Yep, it's kind of like this round 4 is as you would expect. Full weapons. It's just the score doesn't really go the way that you would expect it to.
Correct.
Double stack here for Core right in front of Showers. What is that prediction? How? I mean, MXS got a pretty solid read on it, just not able to out-trade the situation. A nice shot from T-Dog. Punishes Odashima from finding the initial trades. Vic, the walking double kill, though, might not be done yet. Nerves stuck behind the boxes. Oh, gosh, that's so painful to watch. Just Brock finds the easy one.
The thing is they did so much pressure towards Showers, and they used an ult to clear towards that side that they left the spike. So losing those 2 first players, everybody backed up. Like the default that they had on Short and on Sans is like, oh crap, we gotta run back and help and get that trade off the Detain that we just got off the Thrash. Now they've wasted so much space, so much map control, but thankfully the priority for Brock was to pick up the ult, so he has it again for the second time. Now they could use that as basically an upgraded dog from a Trailblazer and then TP where they need to go.
Wingman's planting.
And it's just going to be a Wingman plant instead, so playing it safe on their end.
30 seconds
now they have
left.
Thrash, the lineup for post plant.
Spike planted.
Yeah, this is going to be a tough one to break down for sure. Core, though, have made apples. Oh, orange juice out of oranges. Where did apples come from? Someone
I don't
help
know.
Chef.
I like
He's
apples.
lost.
It's apples. Oh, no, it's not apple season.
Yeah. Not going to happen here. As
Nope.
Snarly will give it a go. Dizzy over the top, Wingman on. Wait a second.
Down.
Pardon? I was saying Wingman nearly got that thing to 75%. Great trigger from Snarly, but like you said, the Molly was already at the ready. Maybe a chance to try to recontest this. Has an isolated 1v1, but Brock just not giving him the time of day. Time becoming an issue again. Vic over the top. Does get taken down. Wait, does he actually have it this time?
Oh, yeah, he does.
Oh, okay. Well, okay.
Nice little Zippo clutch in the end, and that, when it comes down, I mean, I totally get it from MXS's side too, right? You've seen the results from the first map. You've seen how they were playing very aggressive and that they're not afraid to fight against Core on that first map. So they're like, okay, screw this timing. We could just win individual 1v1s just like we did so towards Ice Blocks. On top of that, we won a full eco on classics only against Core in round number 2. We have it in the bag. We have what it takes to win against this 2v1 on top of that. Why the hell not?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, get the Snarly jersey after that clutch.
All right, let's lock in here, friends. We've had a wild 18 rounds of Valorant to start.
What?
Now we got the defense getting aggressive through Shower side, using the Thrash to try to get there, plus also the teleport from Snarly, but doesn't quite work out. Showstopper to counter, absolutely brilliantly done by MXS, surviving through the initial aggression, and then countering perfectly, getting him to an early 5v3.
That was a nice little attempt of a trap play that you saw there from Core by pulling out the Thrash through the TP and a util press that you had towards Showers, but little did they know there was a showstopper to answer right back, and they were really quick here from MXS to just backpedal away here from the Thrash coming through. I thought there was some players to Detain on top of that, though.
How about this, though, Vansili? There will be a chance for T-Dog to rotate back, but the late play from Snarly will pull down towards Showers. So Wingman again getting to work on the plant. Does the molly take him fully out? I don't know if it fully actually hit.
No.
So now you're back into that same problem, 3v5.
That's so tough, and that Showers control is fully nullified. It doesn't really matter anymore. They can just play the lineup from Palm Tree.
And Mata's just going to stay forward. Try to create issues for this defensive retake. Not going to let this post plant go a bit awry. Snarly on one side, Ziff on the other. Trying to come together. It's Brock watching one angle, Mata watching the other. Kind of back-to-back here in a way. Smoke will dissipate. Mata, up close and personal. Looking to force the first gunfight. Dizzy comes out, creates an opportunity for Ziff. Snarly follows, but this time there's not enough clock remaining to get the defuse off, so MXS will hold the post plant.
I like that push from Spawn, though. Oh, with that TP, that might give the tell. Vic was in a moment where he could actually get a time against his opponents. Now he might not survive. Yeah, there you go. There was an opportunity there if that TP didn't come through from Flya to make that round really expensive against Core. So state of the game of that round, despite that 1 versus 2 that Snarly was able to win for Core, they came in with such a low buy. So they still had to go from some sort of trap play, and it was a beautiful read at the start and a beautiful attempt because it did, I'm pretty sure, detain 1 player, although they weren't able to answer back because of the showstopper that came immediately out from Mata. So this puts them once again in a situation where, yeah, maybe you lost a 2v1 for MXS, but at least you hurt the economy this time around, and you can convert it back to the normal state of what we're supposed to see in a scoreline here for MXS with that eco that you want on round 1.
Well called. Flya getting a lot of space taken there from the Trailblazer. Wingman. Back off the plant. Otoshima falls behind. Zeldris will lose U-Haul control. And with that, once again, it's an early post plant 5v4 with now the orbital strike. Yeah,
and this time protocols that you have, like the last round I was talking about the Vic lineup, it was actually Otoshima playing it from the Palm Tree. This time he used both of his snake bites towards Showers so they could actually move up and get all these kills, get super close, give his life away so he gets a pit in the next round too. And I love that because now that he uses Snakebite to get Showers control for his teammates, it's now Vic the one playing lineups and pulse point with orbital strikes. So this is why the composition is so good right now that you currently see for MXS. It's like the baseline that we currently see from on Bind. And again, it's just beautiful execution in the end from Otoshima and the rest of MXS, just like map number 1.
Yeah,
it's very well drilled.
It's options, it's variety, it's everything you want to see in terms of the depth that you can find out of one composition.
It's all 31 flavors of ice cream at Baskin and Robbins.
Yeah. Do you say Baskin and Robbins?
It's
just Baskin Robbins.
Listen, I'm lactose intolerant. I don't eat too much ice cream.
Orbital Strike tries to clear out Showers, this time talking about differentiation of how you open things up. But opening trade does come through. Zeldris off the high ground. And how about this? Now you've all of a sudden got a 4v2 in the opposite way. Post plant is able to get established, but the Viper's Pit not in a position to be used to reinforce this. So a very difficult individual status for both MXS post planters.
Wait a minute. It's doable right now. Flya has ult. This kill's huge. Not anymore.
Yeah. Oh, and the Viper's Pit gives away Otoshima's position. You spam through it, no worries. Yeah, well done by Core here.
And it almost feels like the pit wasn't going to reach that spike anyways, too. So, and there was a moment there that Flya got that backstab onto Zeldris. You throw the Seekers, and you're able to get at least information of where the last players are at, and you could maybe convert that 2 versus 4. Because it started off very well for Core. They were able to read that push that you would have from MXS with the orbital strike towards Showers, something that's been controlling very well. We talked about varieties, right? If it's not snake bites, if it's not a triple swing, it's an orbital strike play towards Showers, and it's currently being read quite well. They converted into holding that Showers to start, that Thrash play that was 2 rounds ago. So there is some studies and some tape that's been read right now on how MXS currently plays this map, and that Core is trying to counter that right away. But it comes down really to these fights now, and who's going to be able to win it in the end if the reads are perfect for both teams.
And in terms of kind of establishing the good news, bad news situation, for Core, the good news is you're dealing with this opening pressure that you were unable to on Icebox. Not a 1-for-1, but it's very clear that MXS is going to be throwing a lot of information and utility over towards Shower side. For a moment, I thought that Mata was just going to push right through that Boombot, but the paint shell follow-up has him reconsidering, and we'll stay 5v5.
Yeah, and even on a knife to confirm that Mata was there too, so that's going to force people. I love this. Now even preemptively before the minute marker, pulling that pit, because the null command and a knife, it doesn't allow here MXS to run any type of utility. You're really not going to face check into the site. So until that happens.
Yeah,
You can pivot back now towards A and use Seekers and Thrash. It's going to be tough now.
Right there.
That's a nice little lurk from Otoshima. And like you said, this causes QOR to have to really stretch things out thinly. And interestingly enough, they're actually going to try to reinforce B with T-Dog here, who really only has a fragment left for now. Knife may be ready soon, which may be part of the reason why he's coming this direction, just to check.
Correct. You either throw a knife for information or just try to stop the Thrash that's going to be coming out too. But instead, it's the Thrash coming out towards short, and that Utah's already there. You can't pressure towards the back of the site. I mean, now you got to play retake. At least, thankfully, they still have 4 players to retake with.
And a wall. And more
Spike
importantly, try to create some space here and how you want to try to hit this retake out. No ultimates available besides the Seekers. So there's opportunity here for maybe an advantage to come out. But wow, okay, I'm surprised that this was the call for QOR. They just tried to sneak their way in. Vic gets a freebie. Dizzy over the top kind of, again, just asserts that MXS hold control of the site. Mata is way up in the heavens, doesn't make a difference. Pinstripe goes the kill feed. Ziff still the last one left, and he can do nothing as Vic will find 4 in the round.
Hasn't lost his form from that first map. When it's his time to step up, he'll do so. And I love it in the end. It continues that game plan and that confidence that MXS brings. Nonetheless, despite them losing a couple of these situations where they play with overconfidence, they haven't kept the foot off the pedal, if I could put it that way as well, for MXS, because you need somebody to really step up and try to farm for kills. A couple of rounds ago, second round was Mata. They got Otoshima so that they could get the pit. Now it's Vic running forward with a 4K, getting closer to an orbital strike. I mean, we're almost playing Gladiator at this point in Iron Man just to see who's going to be able to get the ults right now on these pulse plants.
Toxin screen down.
Well, at least now there's been a lot of conditioning. Sorry, Shift, to cut you.
Yeah, you're fine. You're fine.
There's been so much conditioning done towards the shower side on how they're using it. So look at this push. They're trying to counter it right now for QOR. The snake bites are coming down. They think it's going to be a late shower, so an early smoke comes out right now on the shower side. Now they can crunch towards B, and they potentially won't be ready right now for QOR. They only have a crossfire set up towards long B, and that's it.
Well, QOR's going to have to find this isolated 1v2. Is he out? Any follow-up? No. Missed chance right there for QOR. Even 1-for-1 would have been okay because he would have collected a weapon, but that is essentially a 1v3 that Otoshima just wins. The Dizzy plus the 2 actual opponents. And with the spike planted, Vic has also gotten a read on the teleport, plus the previous player coming across in Zeldris. And I mean, Vic's, you want to talk about no respect? They're shooting bodies, and then they're shooting bodies knowing you're still going to take a second to gunfight. Yeah. So MXS feeling confident, to be sure.
Definitely feeling confident at this point. And now with the 6-3 lead, and we see Vic, he was one of those players that died on that previous round, so they're one away of grabbing an orbital strike too. So now you have objective controls, and they've done very well to take controls towards shower side. The name of the game now, the mind game is going to be, okay, are they going to try to do it? Look at how preemptively these stars are going down on the defensive side too. It's already been placed up towards shower so they can try to deny it. The raise is also there at that point, and the pings though for MXS are towards long B. So now they can fight towards long B, grab ore, but are they ready for this push on Sands?
That's the big thing. Oh, Snarly, I thought he was just going to immediately push through this, but now maybe a bit of a window has closed. Oh, goodness gracious. 1-for-1 is fine there for Mata, considering what it was opening up to be. Knife comes out just to reaffirm that for the defense, they're a little bit more clear towards Hookah. Alarm bell should be ringing for T-Dog. Has 1 flash in the fragment. Offense making its play. Looking like it wants to go quickly, and they're going to call out the Cosmic Divide just to slow down this hit.
Yeah, but the orbital strike's right. Snarly's going to start with this, though. If they pick up this right away, the orbital strike where Snarly could be, no, they're just going to wait it out. They're going to wait it out right now off the wall, too. I mean, there's still a minute left on the clock. So there's an opportunity to reset, but not for long. This huge flank right now from Zeldris just to cut the rotate out, but it's fine. You can just TP if you want to, so he's got to make a move.
The thing here, though, is does MXS think that they've created doubt to move on this defense for QOR when that hasn't needed to be the case because of this position from Zeldris? And if they go back through Spice, he may get a freebie. No reason for Zeldris to move. There you go. Easy win.
30
does feel a little bit self-conscious about the position, and MXS will either have to teleport or commit hard into the site from the front.
And they are, and Zeldris already TP'd over there, or should I say satcheled over the cross to break at least the gap that may separate them to plant towards the A site.
What a read. Does he get here in time, though, to stop much of this post plant? Wingman will get the spike planted. Snarly working in from Spices. Core have cleaned out so much of where this post plant could be. It just comes down to, can you win your gunfights? Yes, we're looking right at you, Snarly. Has to come through this flank, because the timing there, he may have missed a bit of a window here. Yeah, he gets caught, but T-Dog is holding, and Onishima sneaks past Zeldris, who pushed in towards mid. Oh, it's just like the most catastrophic Valorant timing you've ever seen, but Nerf can hop back on and secure the defuse before the orbital strike. Unreal.
Oh, man. You almost felt at some point, I mean, it was all there. As soon as the timing was missed by Zeldris, that there was a possibility there, because he had a wingman plant, you still were able to get your 3 players alive and keep the, well, at least guns out, so you could try to fight these fights. And that knife was everything too. That was so nice on the read that they potentially had there from Core. And I don't think necessarily it's the reason why T-Dog is playing a KO on this map, but potentially, maybe just thinking about countering lineups as well on Palm Tree. He did it to try to counter out against guessing that the orbital strike would be there, and he guessed perfectly.
Wow.
So I love that it came down to that, and we have like these intensive moments. It's definitely different than that first map on Icebox, but now we're calling a timeout on the other end too. So this is actually making MXS a little bit more, I wouldn't say necessarily vulnerable, but now like, okay, these guys are finally out here to play.
Yeah.
Maybe they have their own plans now because they came out with something new, and this is not something that we're prepared against, because they were probably expecting a Reyna to come out on Bind. So it's now their turn to play under the fact that they were surprised now by Core's lineup. And I mean, they're doing pretty decent so far.
Can I just not only point out the mountain of Dr. Pepper behind, but
it gets bigger by the week.
It's funny though, because from Nerve's camera you could see T-Dog's feet, and he was just like, looked like he was double bass pedaling it up, bro. He's getting cracked on some Dr. Pepper.
Is he playing Battery from Metallica or something?
Yeah, flat out. Here comes that same shower play. The Viper's utility being spent. Oh, Mata across. Caught himself by surprise. He didn't finish that first elimination, but kill some come through. Snarly caught over towards this backside teleporter play, but still comes away with the double. So hold on a second. For a low buy, Core still fighting here.
And you have Shower's control. They can pinch right now, so it forces MXS to play back towards the spawn. Vic is in a great spot to cover Mata.
Wow, nice shot from Ziff. Vic, the walking double kill. Not this time. Just down to Brock. 1v3. And he's giving up his position. Dizzy over the top. Has to make a choice here. T-Dog will hop back on. Have to find these kills and find them quickly, but Snarly follows up with a picked up Vandal. And how about it? Core get this thing to a 5-6 half to this point.
Like I said, when it comes down to those macros that are perfect right now, and the reads are really good from both teams, it now comes down to who's able to shoot better. Losing those duels now towards that shower, losing that shower space for post-plant positioning for MXS is not good. The other thing, too, is Ziff came out with that VCL chef that we were talking about, right? And he demonstrated in the last few rounds of Icebox, gets a nice little 2-piece in that round when he had very low HP. Great communication for Core to retake that, and there's still only 1 round away. You remember that round that Nerve crazily got that defuse? It was the defuse and a win that put him so low, but here's a showstopper push.
Ooh, both sides. Mata hit the trigger second, but got up in the air second as well, so we had a Rocket Arena moment. And that's enough for first blood to get tallied. And you've kind of lost shower control. I say that with hesitation because you haven't fully given up on the play yet if you're Nerve, but boy, this stretches the defense out super thin off the get-go.
Yeah. And he thought that Shower's control was going to be the name of the game so that Brock could get his Thrash to clear space, but they still have Flyer alive, so they could flash into sight, get a wingman plant, and use the Thrash on the pulse plant. So Lat lost that attempt that Core tried to do on the showstopper. Might be their demise now for round number 12.
Look at this though, T-Dog creates issues over towards U-Haul, tries to step in through his own flash, works out for 2. Beautifully done, but the wingman does come out, and the Thrash creates a bit of an issue. So MXS tested here in their post play, but providing the eliminations they need, plus a little extra damage off the paint shells.
Love the paint shells to get him out of the astral position so that he can actually place some great stars. I mean, he was only able to react off the smoke.
Yeah. Messy 1v1 between Geckos right there. Mata right on top of the spike. No worries for him. Ziff fighting back 1v1. Hold on a second. He still has, I was going to say, not just the snake bite. He also had a poison cloud, but isn't able to get that down. And MXS take the half 7-5.
And he also had to play a clutch against Brock. And you know how Brock is good in these situations on pulse plants. When he's actually, I saw somebody in the chat said, hey, count the amount of times that Vansilli says pulse plant. How much money you made so far? $36? That's amazing.
What do they want you to do, bro? Like, this is your job.
I mean, Spike is down. I mean, after, I don't know. I don't know. I'm trying. I don't know. It's almost like somebody else telling me, like, Vansilli can't stop saying the word "the," and then it just threw me off because I didn't know how to finish a sentence at that point. Wow. Nonetheless, though, I mean, I love that this has been a lot of back and forth, and that core is able to pull up a very, very strong fight despite lower economy against MXS and makes this very, very competitive. And for MXS, you saw the discipline that came through. Another 2v1 in that last round, and you didn't see too many crazy shenanigans at that point. They really went disciplined, went back to their playbook, went back to their fundamentals, and won that 1v1 in the end, but play that 2v1 to as best as you can. Core now on the attack, trying to hit towards the A site very, very quickly.
And instead of saying post plant, maybe you can say after activation. I don't know.
I don't know, man. I'm going to keep saying post plant. Make your $46 by the end of the test, my friend.
Well, Core, a heavy flood through mid, largely even exchange after everything's all said and done. MXS have successfully held it at bay, but damage tallied on both sides, a little bit more so from the offensive side, as Snarly and Zeldris find themselves at essentially 1 bullet health.
Yeah, at least they've done some good damage here for MXS, but the same thing on the attack, right? Mata is also very low on HP. They still have a wingman they could plant with. Right now it's on the back of Nerf, though, so this might be a little bit difficult right now if they're not trying to...
Yeah. Say whatever you want, Vansilli. Sometimes the pistol play
30 seconds
shuts us
left.
up mid-sentence.
Yeah. At least Nerv is going to get the plant no matter what. So, I mean, it was part of the plan. They have the script. Snarly's going to die, so you have to plant no matter what. So they have Nerv going for the plant, and they have a nice crossfire, though, for this push.
This is bold. Try to take elbow control away from Mata. Yeah, works out nicely. Ziff over the top sees, I believe, both members move in towards site off this cross through hookah. So now all of a sudden, Core find themselves with the power positions. Brock stuck between a rock, a hard place, and a harder place. This has got 3 different members to worry about, and Core will take the pistol. So it's been a chaotic map of bind. Let's not, put it too plainly, but Core is really doing a nice job staying alive in the mix of things.
Exactly, surviving through the chaos. I love it. It doesn't matter what happened on that first map, losing 13-2, right? Now you go back in this one, and what I was trying to say is that if they were going to be 3 in hookah and decide to drop the spike so that Windman could get the plant, that was going to be some time wasted. And instead, it was just, hey, let me pop out, get a kill, and then Core just had to react. And thankfully, they could still shoot back. So that said, that allows for them to salvage at least a pistol round and tie up the game very early. A knife is going to come out towards showers here. It's actually going to hit that brimstone, and that will not allow one-way smokes to be dropped now towards Catwalk, which is huge.
Some early manipulation. Mata shows himself. Dizzy out. Pain shells to follow. MXS kind of they respond with the exact same utility in return. So, I mean,
that's crazy.
Talk about a mirror matchup, you're going to get in full fold.
Yeah, but there's 5 people watching that Dizzy. Nobody was able to shoot it. That was the crazy part. Because, like I said, they haven't had a chance to put a smoke down because I'm pretty sure Vic got hit by that. So it was a window of opportunity for Core to start moving up and scaling up towards short. And instead now it's a contact play, and MXS are gambling that it's a B-side rotate.
Mosh gets placed by Brock. And that, wow, what? I was going to say, no way, we just stand in this, but what happened? Snarly? Does he get one of his own? Not quite. Oh, nice shot, though. Takes down Vic as the spike gets planted. 4v4 retake.
Sorry, I'm always still mad that he died from a mosh.
Me too.
They finally have position here for Snarly, but he's 2 versus 1 with the Guardian.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
At all.
Does it matter? No. Oh, almost gets all 4. But Otoshima with the classic can only do so much. And what was likely a core round does come through as such, with 2 Guardians and a Phantom making the transition into round 15.
Yeah, and you've used a bit of utility on your end on defense, but you've done some damage. You got 2 kills out of that one as well. And even one of them without needing to see an opponent. So you'll take that any day here for the defensive side. Very similar story as what I was trying to say on that first half. When you're playing against players that could potentially bring out an outlaw on a second round, you're going full classics. And now it allows for you to get like a little bit of a better buy here for MXS this round. But because they've used a bit of that utility, though, a couple of them are going to be short. 5 of them are on small shields. But thankfully, nobody from Core with an Outlaw. They are playing an attacking science and are probably not trying to use something there on the attack to play the op pick. They want to play the contact and usual instead.
Snarly looking for more at the Guardian. Gets a look at Flya, and the Poison Cloud will deter any further information from being tallied. And Core will, again, just kind of keep just stretching the map a little bit, not able to find too much over towards the A side, as Showers was kind of voluntarily given up by both sides.
And that's the thing, though. For Core giving up Showers early, you saw the snake bite going in so they could start scaling up towards the long B. But losing Showers control doesn't really allow for you to get late TP out back towards the A site. So the name of the game now for 45 seconds left, they might still want to try to sell some sort of fake towards this A site before rotates out there and TP towards B, or just full pivot out towards the A site, and they're doing the latter. So all of them rotating back might have been heard here by Flya, so the players are now staying here towards the A site.
Yeah, they coordinated to use the Thrash to try to clear out U-Haul, and then hopefully use some utility to try to do some contesting over towards the Shower side of the site, but everything comes through with an opening 1-for-1. Vic goes completely unchecked, but doesn't get the wingman, so the plant comes through, stops this from being around, determined by the game clock, and now we get into a 3v4, pardon me, 3v3, with Core setting up a deep post plant.
And thankfully, Brock didn't die from getting detained here, so double push towards U-Haul.
Dude.
Ooh, Snarly with Guardian there.
Again, same spot, right over towards U-Haul. You would think he had a shotgun in hand with how much he's finding, and that's enough for Brock to not even give it a go. I mean, these have been two great rounds from Snarly, flat out. He's won them both these last rounds.
100%. Like I said, tight-knit quarters with a Guardian right there, and even gets a third kill, pushing towards the spawn, and they're the ones fighting against MXS right now. They're the ones not afraid, pushing towards spawn, where they've been put down in low economical situations, even if they win rounds here for Core. And I love that they still have that confidence to still want to fight towards the spawn. But yeah, agreeing to what you were saying, Snarly with Guardian, it's not a usual position that you want to play a post plant for Snarly at U-Haul with that type of weapon. And he's still able to just line them up as they're falling through at least the first part of the hallway.
Yeah. Wow.
B control, knife for long B with suck potential in the end. Just going to keep Flyer back, but now they hear share shots confirmed. Now it's a Shiko for MXS, and that's going to be called out here by Core.
And I think if you're looking at this from Core's perspective, you don't just anticipate this round goes your way because of the economical situation, but you're hoping you can do it cleanly and get yourself a little bit of a boost in what's still remaining on a number of players, plus the opportunity for ultimates in the follow-up round. Otoshima creates a little bit of an issue, plus now this flank for MXS collects not just a kill, but also a weapon to work with, and that's enough for Brock to get out of there and wait for help.
VCL Sheriff, and yeah, Brock is just going to hold it back, and I like it. He's holding elbow. He's going to get hit by that knife, but it doesn't matter. He doesn't mind fighting very close with the stingers, so he can try to take his opponents down, yet they're pitching behind him.
Yeah, Brock, if you could go 1-for-1 would be incredible. It does better than that! Oh my goodness! How does he get both? Just straight spam. That's the answer. T-Dog in the corner, though. Hold on a second. He's got Mata isolated. Wingman pushing through. T-Dog slips away, but Brock comes upgraded into the Phantom. Oh my goodness. The fact he gets two shouldn't happen. Unbelievable.
And you had perfect fundamentals for how MXS double swung, for how Core double swung against Brock at the elbow. One jumping in towards the air, the other one just swinging under, and then you're hoping for at least a 1-for-1 trade. Yet it's a stinger, 20 bullets in the chamber that eliminates instantly.
Wow.
Oh, they landed it right at the spot, so it didn't jump out far enough, so it was an easy lineup in the end. So maybe not as perfect in terms of fundamentals, but the idea was there. But that's one mistake that's going to cost you a lot there, because again, we had VCL Sheriffs and a stinger that allowed for MXS to win that round.
And what we were, at least I was kind of building towards, was not just a 9-7 tally for Core, but hopefully a clean one, has now all of a sudden turned into an 8-8 count with a little bit of depletion of credits here for Core on the offensive side because of that. Super punishing. Thrash is at the ready for both teams, but a couple others are close. Offensive Thrash getting called immediately. Doesn't really create too much space, though, thanks to this Viper's utility. Flya caught in Cubby. And now it's just down to Candy win your gunfight. Otoshima backside of the site does well to get the first. Not able to find much more than that. Null command also being spent, and Brock, no more heroics here. Vic though, walking double kill? No, not this time. 1v2 situation for Mata.
Gonna jump out, try to get a timing. Oof. Couldn't use paint shells because the null command was out there by T-Dog, and he was just trying to get that 1v1 while T-Dog was planning so he could use the util in the end. But nice little reposition by Nerve towards that spot at Octagon to win that 1v1. And you called it perfectly, right? Everything from macro was good from attack to defense, and it just came down to who was able to win their fights. And when you're getting T-Dog in that position to be able to get that null command out, then it's pretty much over at that point. And this, and excuse me, as I just noticed it right now, this is actually MXS's first timeout. So back a couple of rounds ago in that first half when I called out that timeout, it wasn't really on MXS. It was still a timeout being called after a victory there from Core. But nonetheless, they're starting to feel that pressure from MXS this time around. So this timeout is going to be fairly important. I'm pretty sure after that, Det 2 Mana is going to get very close, if not already there, to the showstopper.
And think about it from this perspective, you know, we talked a little bit about what Core was talking about possibly with the Showers play when they took their time out in the first half. For MXS, this is largely got to be all focused on, can we make life a little bit more difficult through Belong? Because there's been a lot of just straight up walk-ups from the side of Core on this offense to this point. So maybe a point of conversation. You could also possibly counter that with the idea of, hey, Showers really hasn't been fought for yet. Maybe we can use that as a position to kind of overwhelm these offensive looks towards A. Like, there's a lot of opportunity here. It just comes down to what decisions get made.
It's a great call. It's almost like the opposition of what MXS was doing, right? They were prioritizing Showers control at the beginning with Orb over on that side. Core is doing it towards B, and they're doing it. So they're adding that same type of pressure towards the B side and trying to get an Orb here on A, at least, to try to get Zeldris into an ult. But instead, as smoke comes down, they back up, and Mata is able to pick that up and take the showstopper control. So now the objective-based control is being won by MXS, and they have 2 ults to work with now against Core.
Oh, that boombot doesn't just get triggered, it blows up inside of this mid-hall, so MXS will know that the threat is pretty imminent. Vic trusted to watch the cross, but has he gotten here too late? It's a double stack inside the mid-hall. Brock very wisely clears this before taking a look. Machta will push it out, and now Mata kind of blindly trying to push right through the Cosmic Divide, and somehow Zeldris stays alive. Color me surprised. So now Thrash will follow up. Brock not able to find too much with it, but largely speaking, MXS have reclaimed the initial take on this site, even though the spike was never really a part of the play.
And Fly crossed over the wall here, the Astro Wall, so he hurt the TP and the door, but he doesn't hear any more pressure towards the B site. So everybody else from MXS could still stay planted towards A and run the crossfire and run the gauntlet now on Core towards short.
5-man stack. Here comes the flood. Nice shots from Zeldris. And follow-up from T-Dog, but they don't clear out the U-Haul corner, and Mata punishes the call. Now on 3. Looking for more on the side. Zeldris confirms the trade, and that's enough for him to get the showstopper, which he uses to trade on his own life. 1v1. Nerve only has the 2 stars to play with. Flya, a Guardian, and nothing else. There's the vacuum. Fly doesn't quite get it all the way to halfway. Second star gets placed. There it is again. Immediately triggered. That's the Nova Pulse that gets spent, though. So Nerve will have to check this. Comes down to timing. Fly gets it to halfway, but the peak is perfect from Nerve, and Core gets to double digits.
There was an opportunity there as well. I saw the vision as, again, I want to place it that way. As soon as the star was posted down, Fly just booked it over to the spike so he could actually waste out those stars ASAP and just try to win a 1v1. But you've mentioned it. It was a Guardian on one end by Otoshima that gets that 1v1 against Zeldris' ult. But at the same time, the other 1v1 was with another Guardian that Fly can really get a good position to fight in that towards the end. So that's really good here for Core. They're able to convert another round of elimination off a post plant. They take the lead by 2. Again, we mentioned it. This is a very doable map right now where in Valorant, somehow you can't win your map pick. But it's also to the credit that Core is coming out with a brand new composition that MXS still has to continuously try to learn how to fight against on their defensive side. And now we're back to Shiko and ults for MXS. So still, it's not over yet for MXS in this round number 19, especially with Mata's position here.
Oh, this Sky Smoke's about to fade, and Ziff, wow, timing, just gets behind the wall before Mata could potentially find an opening 1v1. Flash comes through a bit more delayed, forces MXS to replace the smoke, but Core's intentions are leaning towards B. Opportunity for Zeldris to clear out Hookah with here's been what is the problem has been for MXS. That free B long walk up.
They're still going to try to jiggle it, and that's the problem. Sometimes when you're playing single initiator with the Sky Nerfs, you're just trying to go for jump peaks or jiggle peaks to get information, so you get a little bit more flashes in the end. And that causes right now the ruckus for Core inside this B site.
Will be a 3-man retake attempt. To this, playing it right from the start, front side at B doors. Maybe a chance to re-clear through elbow, but this is where the real retake would come through, if it were to at all. And Nerve puts it to rest. Now Brock gives up his position. Vic has got nowhere to go, and he's only got a Sheriff, so clean stuff this round from Court. And it's not even just the fact that it's a free walk up towards B. They actually kind of could get away with a gift as well.
And again, still using Snarly to push towards the spawn for a fight. Could have been Ziff at that point too, but for Core, very similar to MXS, have those players hunt down for those eco kills. Snarly drop in a casual 20 in the second half.
Oh yeah.
People maybe were criticizing him on that first map from getting what, like 3, I can't even remember how many kills he's gotten, but it doesn't really matter at that point because he shut all of us up. Now dropping 2K casually now against MXS's map pick. And doing such good value, getting such good value rather, out of this Gecko. That even forces the second and last timeout for MXS, which is really good here. Because now Core could use this against a Hail Mary that MXS is going to try to pull out. But at the same time, they have their own timeout to work with. So they're definitely in the driver's seat this time around for Core.
And the thing is, like, I would have to imagine, like we talked about, like, how do you pinpoint where the issues are for MXS? And I still think that they're not putting enough over towards B long. I mean, especially considering that you're largely putting your Sky in that direction. We're not really even seeing opening Trailblazers being used to try to contest that space. It just feels maybe like they're reacting too late because of the lack of information off the get-go. And I think that's got to be what you look at right here for MXS defensively. We cannot allow them to have B long for free every round.
And that's a natural thing, again, as we have time to talk about the Sky Nurse, right? Because usually you pull a flash out at off the rip, and then the last one's going to be rechargeable, so you can have one more flash on a retake. But now you have to be better in terms of your capability of using your abilities as a Sky, because even a dog now being thrown early means you don't have a dog for the mid-round at the minute mark. So you have to body peek a little bit more. It allows now players on the attack to really just place their crosshair for a kill. Look at this push. They're walking out.
I thought this initially was going to be a showstopper play, but it's not. It's just a full-on push through. Viper's Wall kind of creates the one-way angle of what to watch for. Now Otoshima, aggressive step up in towards Hookah, wins it. Nice shot. And that will now be first time that MXS have been able to enjoy significant numbers. Wingman trying to still commit forward to get the plant off, but will not be allowed this time. And the options for Core have to rely on maybe getting in a cheeky play from T-Dog over towards Elbow.
One enemy remaining.
Only gets one. Okay. Well, that's one way to do it. A little bit of aggression through mid. That'll work.
No, this is good, right? Towards the end, I mean, Nerve is going to have to play a 4 versus 1. Discipline's going to stay. So technically, you shouldn't be able to win this round now for Nerve. So gives me a chance to talk about, after that timeout, what was the play here for MXS, which I really like. The walk down towards short. Where has Core been working right now towards these sites, usually at the beginning of the round? Long B or short A? And if you're going towards short A, they haven't really been using full out utility at the beginning,
30
and
seconds
really
left.
haven't been using any flashes or dogs at the beginning too, so you can walk down and play contact. And you have 3 players to play for trades. You have Seekers and an Orbital Strike with Vic, right? So you have a lot of utility to fight against that. They fight towards long, give that up. Double up towards Hookah instead. You deny plant on top of that, which makes it a lot more difficult here for Core to try to get some rounds in or try to get map space on B. And I realize right now, I mean, it's a 1 versus 4. Nerve is like, okay, we still have a lot of money to work with, so let's just walk into site, try to do some econ damage against MXS and give us better chances to win the last few rounds of this map. But MXS now having a strong round number 20, have a chance now to come back in this game.
I'd be curious to see what Otoshima wants to do with this Viper's Pet that he's got for the first time in this half. I imagine that, as it often is, it'll be used either to try to guard over towards Hookah or towards mid, and based on his position, if he does want to use it in this round, it would be used over towards the B site. So a little bit of an investment here defensively to kind of get this high ground control, which we've seen before. Mata looking to see if Dizzy's going to come up over the top. Not the case. Ziff once again coming over. Thrash going to be denied immediately. Molly also possesses in the middle of the map, plus the spam. Enough for Vic to tally the first blood for free. Hit towards Shower, still developing. Yeah, it just kind of feels like one of those moments where you're really just trying to force it in. Although, nice little crossing angle from Snarly.
Huge flank.
Does limit the numbers to a 3v3, but Odashima's flank is about to ruin everything, and that's exactly what he'll do.
And a change of pace for MXS2, adding a flanker on top of that, knowing that they're playing against a non-Sentinel comp. And that was something that didn't happen too much, right? Zeldris did it once only on defensive side, and now this is the first time that MXS brings it out on their defensive side, and they convert into a beautiful victory in the end, where it looked very doable for Core to convert that after losing the initial fights up towards short A. But now you saw that change of pace from Core 2 from that timeout that was called by MXS. They wanted to split a little bit more towards the Showers, them also realizing that there's not too much pressure coming out from MXS, except when Mata was trying to pick up a showstopper on that Shower side. So they had an opportunity to crunch, but it probably didn't expect the high stack once again of Mata on the top of the boxes here of short. So that puts them in a very, very difficult buy. MXS has all the chances in the world right now to tie up this game.
Absolutely. Core will come into the round with a single Vandal. That's being spent over towards B-Long. Odashima in at least a little bit deeper towards Hookah, but gives it up. No need to overstay your welcome, especially against the potential flood of Stingers and anything else that Core wants to try to afford. And that actually, speaking of afford, gives them a bit of a luxury item here of a free Hookah play. So here comes the push on through. Crossfire set up. And wow, nice transfer from Flya. He's going to take down 3. Plus the Viper's Pit really is going to get much. The rockets from Mata will connect. And Snarly's got nowhere to go. Flawless round. Zenny flawless round for MXS.
Usually you'd be the sky that flashes through the wall and the person with you is there to swing through and fight those 3 players. Yet Flyer didn't give a flying F and just walked out and just dropped 3 guys with, you know, I don't think it was necessarily spray control, but just discipline on how you're targeting your opponents when they're dropping out of Hookah. Beautifully done, and gets a lucky 3rd one on top of that to dwindle down the chances that Core had to just flood out from a Viper's pit outside of Hookah. Now the game is tied. The pit's been wasted. They don't have that for a post plant now for Core, and you love it because off the timeout that you're able to get from MXS, you convert it into a string of rounds, one in your favor. Not a single round was dropped since that timeout. So now you're forcing the timeout to come out on the other end for Core, and now they have nothing to use anymore. The state of the game has been traded back now in favor of Moist X Shopify.
Oh yeah, and it's been a wild bind. Like legitimately, this has been a crazy map of bind. But it does feel like we're starting to kind of get back into, okay, both teams are playing off their playbook here. I'm not going to sit there and say that one team is, you know, taking it more seriously than before. I feel like that's an unfair statement, but there definitely has been a uptick in pressure that has allowed MXS to come in with a little bit more. Yeah, they're just cleaner now is all it is. So it's legitimately.
Oh man. And you know, you're one away from an orb here for a null command, which could be super important. Already a flash has been invested. Util has been used at the same time as well, but they stayed outside of the radius. This could be a crazy trap play right now for the Showers pinch. And the dog also comes out. So that was a little bit too early. Now you give up that orb, but at least you're not allowing Core to really pivot with a null command execution. Yeah. So that's a small dub in this push.
How about this? You flash through B long. Odashima gets a little bit of a free position here at Sands.
Does it predict
Snarly? Oh, Snarly's going to want that one back. After what has been a great game for him, he's got the first 4 bullets on Odashima and cannot connect. So now you go to 4v4, but that mid-map position being unavailable for Core kind of has to have them looking over towards A.
Yeah. Or just trying to sell a fake here. Trying to see how many players they can get, maybe get some kills TP across, because the other ones are still walking up towards long B contact.
I mean, the thing about it is this fake doesn't really get much counter utility, and yeah, T-Dog just has to force something, trying to clear out Hookah desperately. That doesn't work. Paint shells over the top. Flya steps away from it, but then moves to the backside of the site, meaning that Flya has to come back out, and as he does, he finds himself too. Unreal play from Flya. You thought Core maybe had something to work with, but now you walk into the waiting arms of Mata, and it's series point for MXS just like that.
The timing that Flyer has too. The pain shells were being thrown by Zeldris inside the hookah window to say nobody is going to flood outside or jump outside of that window. Right? Right? No, he jumps out and plays on the outside of his opponent's smoke. So he can use this as a one-way extra obstacle to get these 2 kills, despite him losing his player towards the back of the B side. That was a huge risk that he took, and that's twice that he took a huge risk and really put MXS now at map and series point. That's huge.
And now finally, after holding on to this Viper's Pit for what feels like a calendar year, Otoshima will spend it in towards mid.
Did the Eclipse already pass by this calendar year?
It absolutely has.
And he has Ziff on a glass cannon vandal too, so really kitchen sink now.
Oh, has this been seen? Not the cleanest moment from Zeldris, and that does allow an opportunity for trades to eventually favor MXS. Brock still inside the site will help put everything to rest. I'm telling you, this was like the wildest first like 20 rounds of bind, followed up by like the most in control rounds of bind. Such a tempo change there at the end, and MXS don't drop around on what their last 6 to take the win.
And that's the beauty of it, right? When you have to think on the fly and you have some great calls from, no pun intended, to Flyer and the timeouts being called by MXS's coaching staff, it just looks like they're a very well-rounded, conditioned team. Otoshima, the one calling for the team, and then also with Trainer coming through here as the coaching staff. Beautifully done for them to adapt on the fly and to be able to win this series too. It was a long fight, but at least they got it in the end here, Sierra.
I blinked and I missed the tail end of that last round. I'm not gonna lie. That was MXS finally just said, yeah, we're just gonna end this, no doubt. But honestly, all things considered, since it did start with a 13-2, I do have to applaud Core for what they were pulling out here. But MXS, once they got it together, Shift, I mean, they were just hard to stop.
Yeah, it's gonna be one of those maps that honestly, like, you kind of need to go back and rewatch like the first 20 rounds to kind of figure out how much of this is MXS just like seeing and like testing what they can get away with off this comp versus how much of it is Core really utilizing some great strengths in what they've been able to find in this composition. In particular, and you highlighted a couple of small moments there, Vansili, is what T-Dog was able to create problematically with the KO, which is not something we often see here. And I think that was a little bit of one of the reasons that MXS were trying to kind of maybe pay a lot of respect towards B-Long, as you don't want to get knifed and have no real exit, no utility to create separation. But at the same rate, there's also, like, on their offensive side, they were trying to play very forcibly early aggressive to try to make sure the knife didn't delay any possible executes. Like,
exactly,
it's one of those that I feel like, again, like I will for sure go back and watch this on like 2x speed just to kind of get a handle on it, because really the first, like I said, about first 18 to 20 rounds it felt wild, it felt chaotic and maybe a little bit messy, but there's reasons for that. And I think that's a little bit of credit towards Core really kind of doing a nice job with this composition to create issues that MXS didn't necessarily have full set out plans to deal with.
Yeah, and apologies, I meant to say Mac. I don't know why I have Mac and Trainer always confused when I'm thinking about my coaches right now in the Valorant scene. But that said, I do agree with you with what they were doing here with this knife coming out from the null command on the defensive plays that they're trying to do here for Core on their reactive and retake capabilities that they can have with this KO and deniabilities on lineups that they have with the KO against MXS. And it brought up to a pretty decent back and forth half that we've gone in the end. But again, when it came down to the attack side and it was kind of like figured out, and you're trying to add a little bit more value to this KO to the rest, I mean, it doesn't give enough justice to what T-Dog currently has in the KDA, because I'm pretty sure his assist is quite high. But I feel that if they're trying to have a KO where you could have like these high lineups that you take control on Long B and Showers, that could have been a little bit more red here for, or at least attempt it for Core to use these type of utilities to really take Showers control and scale up a little bit more slowly at this point here for Core, because if not, it was almost like a let's go into one direction and let's still try to hit it at some point, but they couldn't really execute towards the end of it.
I honestly, even just Snarly's performance too, that there was
definitely
there was a couple rounds where it could have been done a lot sooner if Snarly had
now it's the time to run a jersey ad.
Exactly, with his name on there. I think number 11 there. Run the ad now, but not for real. It was a well-played series, but of course, MXS coming out on top. We're going to be taking a quick break, maybe a jersey break, I don't know. And after that, we'll have an interview close out our day.
Player.
My ult.
One enemy remaining. Spike.
On target.
One enemy.
Be still.
One enemy Spike. One enemy remaining.
Dead.
Be faster. That's done. One enemy remaining. I'll beat it. Oh. One enemy standing. One enemy remaining. One enemy remaining. One. One enemy remaining. One enemy remaining. Last player standing. One enemy remaining. Spike down B. One enemy remaining. Spike down B. One enemy remaining. Defenders win.
Well, after a fun series and a bind that definitely went the distance here, MXS to take the series 2-0, currently 2-0 in Challengers so far. And on the line, I have Odashima to talk a little bit more about the game and about the return as well. Congratulations, you're winning, you're back. How are you feeling about being back, actually competing?
I'm feeling good. I mean, I'm excited to play, and I'm glad I get to play with these incredible players.
Your return has definitely been so fun to watch. And I want to know a little bit more about that. Is it something that you've always been kind of planning for about this time? Was it, oh, well, we need somebody on the team and you could so happen to fill that role? Like, how did this come about?
Well, when we were replacing Brady or Thief, we were, talking about potential tryouts. We had a list of names, and the guys recommended me. I wasn't looking to play. Like, I enjoy playing, obviously. I always have like a fire in my stomach, always thinking I can, be the best or be on the best team. But obviously, I think in a team it'd be, messed up if I, said my name. But they all mentioned me. So Shopify, my internet wasn't very good, so they flew me out, and I did well on the tryout. Did really well. I carried them as usual, and then now I'm here.
That belief is so wholesome to see, because you tweeted out about the team believing in you, and them, especially after week one, all tweeting out like, don't sleep on Odashima, like, oh my goodness, he's cracked. So how much of a difference maker does that come into a team? Obviously, there's a lot of pressure on. There's some friends in the background there, but like, there's all this pressure coming into the slot, and the team just wholeheartedly believes that you're the right man for the job. Yeah,
I mean, a lot of people just, they like to talk smack, but I think they saw how I played in, the scrims, and they're with me every day. They know how I think about the game, so I think they were confident in my ability. They knew, mechanics will just come along. It's about, it's about just grinding, really. So, they understood that I had the mind for it, and I just kept grinding. And, I don't think the community like actually knows much. They just like talk. So I don't know.
I mean, from what I see, there hasn't been any haters. Everyone's been excited about seeing you play, especially too since the performance. You never know when somebody hops back into it how it'll be, but I think you've been slotting in really quite well. But I want to know how you feel, especially coming from a coaching position, how you feel about how your play has been so for the past 2 weeks.
I think I've been, transitioning well. It was a bit of a struggle mechanically, but now that I've been back on the team for about 2 months, so it's feeling good. Feels like I don't need to catch up anymore. And I think us playing Oxygen week 1, was a good boost for me. And now, I mean, these like lower tier end challengers like QOR, like, I mean, even if I felt like I didn't play, like I know I was like, you know, I knew they were going to be easy, but I'm not really looking at them to, you know, I'm looking towards M80 and auction most of the time.
That's fair, though. Even if it was a 2-0, that bind for a little bit looked to kind of get out of hand there with them taking the lead. There had to be definitely a lot of rounds strung together at the end for MXS to catch up and take that win. So I'm curious where you think kind of like the crack was with the team and how you guys were able to repair to come out on top.
Yeah, I mean, starting with T side, we messed up a lot of post plans. So like right now, I think bind T side is like really T sided. Like we kind of won more than 7 rounds. So going into CT, we lost a pistol, and then we were just, you know, not really playing aggro like ourselves on our CT side. We were allowing them to do a lot of, they were just defaulting, and we were allowing them to come in. So our coach Mac, you know, woke us up, started getting us, you know, giving us some passion, and then we took over and started being aggro.
Hey, sometimes you just need that little pep talk. I'm sure you know more than anyone about that for the team to really get together again. But congratulations again on being 2-0 so far in Challengers, and thanks for chatting with me, Otoshima. Have a good night, okay?
Awesome, thank you.
As for us, it was a pleasure talking to Otoshima, but it's been a pleasure all day to be talking with my analysts, my casters, Shift and Van. So let's bring them back on over here, chat a little bit more about that.
How come it's like automatic? Like we just bobbleheads when we come through back on camera.
I was giving a little shoulder
a little
dance
shimmy,
here.
A little dancey dance. I'm not gonna lie, guys, considering, yeah, again, the 13-2 for that first map, the fact that it went that sort of distance, Vans, I mean, talking to Otoshima, he was talking about, like, yeah, kind of QOR, kind of one of those teams that's a little lower on in their rankings.
I love
and
that
stuff.
you said
that. Hey, call it as it is, right? But I mean, Core definitely gave them the run for their money for a little bit.
Yeah, and to no discredit to Core, I'm not trying to insult. I just love the comment that he said, because after that he kind of like smirked. Can't even take himself seriously after trying to talk smack about Core after that victory. So I just love that there's a little bit of trash talk between the teams, but I'm pretty sure at the end it's all fun and games. But definitely it showed how confident, not Otoshima's, not the team only, but Otoshima, how confident he has been in these calls and also his fragging capabilities. Because he did say at that point that, you know, he's been with the team for like 2 months. He's been practicing. He's just been grinding, and it's been showing, right? He went like, what, 21-15 and like 10 top fragging on blind on top of that when they lost pistol round. He still had the confidence to try to be able to fight back, still had some great calls. So I think at the end of the day, I mean, he's found his groove and he's found his position right now against with a team that supports him a lot on top of that too. It tells a lot about the chemistry and the camaraderie for this team as well to continue to just excel and, again, continue to set their eyes towards the M80s and the Oxygen esports of the world.
That support too, I think, is just incredible. The fact that the team was all like, "Hey, no, we want to trial him. We want to." It's great to see that it's paying off, and just like how that's been paying off. And I'm excited to see that kind of transition going on forward. But of course, closing out things for today, this is just day 2, so we do have one more day of great Valorant ahead. So peep the schedule. It has been a really fun week here, Shift. Honestly, I've been excited by what I've seen coming out for the teams. And you know what? I'm excited that we have one more day to be sitting back and relaxing, and maybe our first 2-1 for the week.
We're going to get it. I think we're going to get it twice. I'm going to call it right now.
Okay.
I think both these games go 3. We got a little triple loop action. Pumped to see those guys give it a go. I think Winthrop's going to look much more significantly nasty playing up against Troop than they did versus SAD, which is really not easy to say because they look pretty good versus SAD Esports, I thought. And then TSM and the Glazers is another one of those matchups that you use this entire day as honestly a chance to kind of really establish who's going to be the number 2 team sitting in Group B right now, because M80 looks like they're going to be clear-cut the favorite without question, but SAD Esports, a little bit of a, I would say, beat down by M80's hands yesterday. Troop has a chance to really assert that they're not just going to be kind of middle of the pack this season, have a chance to take down Winthrop, but at the same rate, hey, it's your first time we've seen a collegiate squad make it to Challengers, and they did so with great conviction in qualifiers, and they have a chance to kind of right their wrongs from playing up against SAD in week number 1. I'm pumped for tomorrow. I think we got 2 game 3s right there.
I'm definitely looking forward for Winthrop University, because at that point, that's like a wake-up call to like an almost welcome to the big leagues, right? You grinded through the open qualifier, and now it's where it really hits. You want to try to make it to Ascension? Well, you're going to play against teams that are very they're grinding in terms of protocols and whatnot, and they're very refined is the word that I was looking for when you're going to play against these teams. So losing against a team like SATA, it's going to be like, okay, well, it's not only top heavy. Everybody is a heavyweight against us, and we have to make sure we come up on top every single time. But they have a great coaching staff and support system with Winthrop University over at the esports program for collegiate. So I'm expecting that as well, for them to come out a lot stronger than it did on week number 1, despite them having a very good second map.
It'll be a fun day for sure. So make sure not to miss it. As Shift said, we're going to have 2-3 map series. I'm holding you to that one, Shift.
Here for it.
Today was a little fast, though, so we're going to wrap this up. Everyone get on to the dinner plans. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. Shift Vans, thanks for crushing it on the casting desk, of course, and production for always being awesome. Make sure to come back tomorrow for day 3 of Challengers. But until then, have a great night. Good luck in your ranked games.
Last player standing. One enemy remaining. One enemy remaining left. One enemy remaining. 10 seconds left. One enemy remaining. One enemy remaining. Last player standing. One enemy remaining. Spike down. B. A. Enemy remaining. One enemy remaining. One enemy remaining. One enemy remaining. One enemy remaining. Attackers win. Enemy down. Take him out. Last player. One enemy remaining. Spike.
On target.
One enemy.
Be still.